So in today's video, we're going to be looking at pushing B main, and so I'm going to mention that the core util on most of these is going to be like a smoke there, a Molotov here on the wedge, and usually a flash through this window, through B main, or over B main. Those are going to be the most common pieces of util. Not always are all of them used, but usually like at least one or two of these is going to be used most of the time. So starting out here, we have a early B main push. It's a little bit delayed from Vitality. They're going to smoke B stairs, and then Apex is going to hold a flash and throw it so that it pops at roughly the same time as the smoke is blooming. Then his teammates are going to swing out and go for the frags. Now, the reason why they're doing this is because when you're defaulting towards B, typically you don't have more than one or two people towards B. Usually if you have two, it's going to be like one person's a little bit further back. So when this smoke is thrown delayed like this, if anyone like is starting out to be towards B, maybe they're solo or something along those lines, and they see, okay, not much is going on, maybe I can start walking up. By the time that smoke is thrown, they're going to probably, unless they're in the wedge position, they're kind of committed in there. They don't really have anywhere to hide if they move forward. So with that timing, they're stuck, they get flashed, and you have two people swinging on them. However, in this instance, Spirit had maybe three towards B at the start here, three or four, and one of the T's ended up playing anti. I don't remember if it was intentional or not, but that's why that didn't end up working out for them. Now this next round is actually a B main rush from Complexity, so I'm just going to pause it here for 1 second. You're going to see Halzerk's going to smoke the B stairs. You're going to have JT throwing a wedge Molotov on the run. Grim's going to throw an underhand flash because Halzerk's flash is going to come a bit late after he throws the smoke. The flash won't pop before the CTs have pushed through B main. So, as you'll see, Grim underhands a flash. The flash is coming in from Halzerk for deep. They clear out this area. This is fantastic for Complexity, especially because the T's actually have guns on this round. They have some like AKs, Galils, I believe. And so typically, if the T's are running like a standard default, they probably have one towards B. And when this sort of util comes in, you probably have a guy who's going to either try to trade some util, like maybe throwing a nade or something like that, or he's going to try to spam in a lot of cases. And so when you don't actually get any info here, that tells you one of two things. They're most likely heavily towards A, or they have probably one guy at the most just sitting, concealing his presence, just like waiting for like a push or something, probably at an interesting angle, like maybe like towards spawn or something. Now we're going to get into the standard B main take here. So you're going to see that they have 3B at the start. Nexa is going to be in flashing position. Hooksie's going to get the smoke for B stairs and the wedge Molotov. They're going to throw that stuff, and now the flashes are coming in. They take B main here. They clear out the corner. All is good. Hooksy throws another nade because that's probably the most likely spot for the T, and then he extends a bit, sees if he can catch anything, and now he's going to start walking back. Now, you'll see that this T actually started coming in, and so the reason why he's walking up there solo, like he doesn't actually have proper support from his teammate there who's behind the smoke, the reason why he's walking up there solo is because he's seeing if when the CTs take B main control, what happens most often is that they will clear things out, then they'll back up to B main and they'll go for like maybe some jiggles, maybe some jump spots, but they don't typically do too much there, especially when this smoke comes through. You don't really see any CTs actually hard push it. So the T sees if he can find like a straggler or something along those lines, but then with Hooksie's off angle from repositioning, he kind of gets caught out as the T was clearing like the deep into the slant corner. Now moving forward with more set pieces, we're going to see, we have 4-player cams this time. It's going to be 2 mid players and 2 B players. What's really common nowadays is that when CTs go for these B pushes, they'll also split from mid, usually with the CTs pushing their own mid smoke. So we're going to see that Cypher, he's going to be throwing this flash for B main for Hampus here, and then he's going to throw a flash through the window. Hampus is going to swing. At the same time, the CTs start pushing the bridge smoke. However, in this instance, the Ts were also pushing it at the same time, so the action pretty much only goes down towards mid. And we'll see that Bleed, I was thinking about Jacob, is going to go on to win the round. Now for an example of how this works, so typically you're actually going to have 3 B, so it's like 2 mid, 3 B. And in this round, you're going to see Searson's the third person coming B. He's going to throw the flashes. So what this does is, when you have the push through B main, that pulls the mid player's attention toward B, which is why this works. So as you can see, the guy who is probably in like that transitional gap choke area between B and mid there, he gets caught out by the mid players. And so then the frags end up going like the way of big, and they end up in a 3-2. Now here's like a somewhat non-standard round that I wanted to show that I found pretty interesting. So one thing real quick first I'll mention is that when you have these B main pushes, typically in the pro scene, people aren't really smoking B main very often. Sometimes you'll see it in response to a lurk smoke or something like that, or someone's playing pillar and they don't have E-box control. But what happens most of the time is the B players will cycle smokes on E-box, so they get like a nice 40 seconds of control after the T's initial smoke, depending on the E-box smoke they throw. So a lot of the time, the T's aren't able to cross onto the right side of B main. And though the T's will throw the lurk smoke, a lot of the time in this position where JDC is, you can hop up on the little slab there and be able to see over the smoke, so you can know that there's no one on that side. Now what we're going to see is that with low util, they're going to Molotov wedge, and JDC is going to throw his own running flash here to clear out with 3 players. They see that there's nothing here, and then JDC is going to end up pushing it as the others rotate off. Now for a quick, pretty minor example here, you're going to see the thing I was talking about with the pizza position. So Hooksy's going to Molotov close here, so no one's going to be walking close at this interval, and then he hops up on this, he has information. Now because G2 is really low on util, he's actually going to call to swing here with Taz, and they have the player from E-box come up too. He's going to clear this out, then he's going to jump spot for info. Then he throws his nade, and the E-box player comes in, they get a nice little frag. So I just wanted to go over like 2 boosts here real quick. So first we have Hooksy, he's going to boost Monacy on the close. And the reason why he's boosting close is Monacy can get like a really quick peek in, and it's a lot harder for him to get run down by like a T or something like that. He's a lot safer. And add to that, Hooksy is close around the corner, not at an exposed angle, so the T needs to like swing into 2 people now who are going to be able to reset and frag if he were to swing into them. And now in this instance, we're going to have Spinks boosting up on Mezzi's head on the back end. This allows him like more visibility, and he can also like commit to a spray a little bit more, which is why he goes for this. So to start off with the util, we're going to look at Apex's B stairs smoke first. He's going to line up into this wedge, and then he's going to aim from this pole up to the line of this brick here. Tap jump through. Now, this smoke is going to land on the ledge here, and it's going to cover both sides, but I don't actually like this smoke very much because it is very low, which means that these holes are massive. So one thing I could do as a T, for instance, if I knew that the CT's through this, is I could just play like this, wait to hear the flash pop, then I peek out, and I spam this, and before the second flash pops, I get vision on any CTs swinging out because they would be coming out with the first flash, and that makes it easier to do 50 damage or maybe even get like a full frag on, which is unideal as a CT. So the smoke that I would personally recommend is you come into this corner, you're going to aim over here, kind of like in the midline of this brick in relation to this corner here, and you're going to tap jump throw. And it's honestly pretty easy to see in game, at least if you use this as reference, I would say. But this smoke is going to land in such a way where it kind of blocks off this side. It can block it off entirely depending on how you throw it, but along with variation. But as you can see, it's pretty high up. The holes are tiny, so it's all up to luck at that point. Now for the flash, you're going to come here and aim at this diagonally upward pole here, run forward and jump throw. Pretty loosey-goosey. Now for JT's Molotov, which is a real pain, as like it feels like any set lineup I find, or like pre-lineup, is just inconsistent. One way you could do it on the run, sort of like how JT did, was you're going to be aiming at this gap in the bricks here, and you're going to keep your crosshair trained on it until you pass this wall. So if you pass this wall, you're running jump throw or whatever, and that's going to land in the wedge. This is going to require a lot of practice. You might find something else that you prefer. I tried things such as like something along these lines, and hey, this time it worked, but find whatever works for you, because this is a pain. Now, moving on though, we have the flashes. You want to leave this half wall exposed a bit, and then you're going to aim kind of like on this corner a little bit, maybe to the right. You're going to jump throw, that's going to go perfectly around the corner. Then you're going to aim up here, tap jump throw. Okay, that one didn't work out so well. So something like that. And that's going to go cleanly over. Moving forward, we're going to have the flashes that Cypher through. These are fairly common as well. Now, Cypher aimed up from like about here up to here and left click through. That's going to go perfectly around the corner and blind anyone close. And then he throws right around this spot. You can remember it with this stone. Jump throw. But now, the thing that I don't like too much about Cypher's flash here, being just a standing left click throw, is that it doesn't catch anyone walking up here. So you could get timinged in a sense. So what I would actually recommend is that you just walk through it a tiny bit. And with that, it'll go around the corner. It's still going to blind, like, say, an opper holding from back here or something along those lines. And the reason why I would say to walk it a step instead of a jump throw is because now I can't be entirely certain without testing. But say, like, I do something like this. When I make this falling sound, it seems like that sound ring extends over into this area B main. So if I'm like a T and I'm walking up here and I hear that sound, if I'm quite aware, I might know that they're actually throwing a flash and be able to turn from it. However, I'm not entirely certain that the sound circle is always accurate, and I haven't tested with anyone else to make sure. But that's just one reason why I might recommend doing the walkthrough instead. Now, moving forward onto the set util from pillar, we're going to have, you want to crouch underneath this thing that looks like a little bit like a bird, actually. I think these all look like a lot of bird looking things. But anyways, you're going to be crouching under it, and then you see this kind of like scar on the roof there a little bit, and you're going to stand up, left click throw that smoke, come down here with your crosshair, jump throw that Molotov. That's going to Molotov wedge perfectly, smoke off the stairs, all that sort of jazz. Great. And then lastly, I'm going to show the JDC flash where he comes kind of like, he backs up to where he's like wedged into this soft corner or whatever. And then you're going to aim here on the top of this pole, run forward and jump throw. That flash is going to bounce off and you swing out really easy, all good. And I guess actually one last thing I'll mention is it's not in the video, but I was watching how Gamer Legion did one of their B main pushes, and they didn't use a smoke, but they flashed through, and then after they cleared out the cubby, or the corner, I guess, they threw a Molotov just off the wall to clear off wedge. And then after nothing swung, they just kind of fell back and did like all this business, jump spotting, all that stuff, sort of stuff. But anyways, that'll do it for me. Thank you very much.